Metallica, Northeast PA's classic rock, Rock 107. It's Prospector Show. And Kate, your favorite time on the Friday morning has arrived. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, no.
What do you mean, oh, no? What is it?
Is it that guy?
It's time for the epitome of masculinity.
Oh, no.
Mr. Manley on Rock 107. Hey, Mr. Manley here with lesson number 606 in How to Be Manly. We're well into summer now, and boy, does that take me back to being a junior in high school, where I spent my summer caddying at the local country club. Made me feel like Danny Noonan in Caddyshack. And did I know all the players? From your Al Chevricks to Ty Webbs, Carl Spacklers, and Judge Smales. What a way to learn about life and how corrupt it can really be. Back in those days, that didn't bother me, as I would listen to Bob Seger and look forward to my first night moves. There was a girl named Aubrey, the golf pro's daughter, who took a shine to me. But with her starting her sophomore year in college, I thought her to be out of my league. So there I was, looking at her with my lower mind racing, and I decided to ask her out. She said, I was wondering what took you so long. I thought maybe you didn't like me. Suddenly, I was tongue-tied, like a schoolboy, and said, yes. Well, after our date, I fell into her arms like a boy, but by morning I rose as a man. We spent the summer together improving our night moves. Then autumn closed in, and Aubrey was off to college, and I was back on the school bus. Looking back, that was the longest relationship I've ever had. I think of her from time to time, and just the other day, I attempted to find her on Facebook. I was successful and sent her a message. Kind of like Jim Stafford, I said, do you remember when, and would you like to get together again? She said, I'll meet you at your pool. When I saw her, the floodgates opened for me. I said, the years have been kind to you. What have you been doing all this time? She told me she became an architect because she loved structure, learned piano, and took up bicycling. Well, after hearing this, I knew I could show similar interests that I acquired to Aubrey and do so in a manly manner. If you ever find yourself in a similar situation, follow along in your manly manual, page number 606, and repeat after me. Number 1, I always knew you'd be an architect. Remember structuring this skyscraper? Number 2, I guess I was your rehearsal for the piano, as you like to play with my organ. Number 3, hey, Aubrey, I also like bicycling. Here, check out my kickstand. Shortly after, as Aubrey kicks you so hard in your kickstand that takes out your organ, and by doing so turns your skyscraper into a ground scraper. You'll realize just then what kind of man you really are. Until next time, this is Mr. Manley saying be manly and good day.
Rise and shine.
Good morning.
Good morning. I mean, rock.
All right, this is more like it.
It's Prospector. Mornings on Rock 107. Breaking the news that's already broken. It's time for Prospector's Briefs on Rock 107.
New research by the FDA shows tattoo ink contains millions of potentially dangerous bacteria. They're warning people against licking Post Malone's face. Tom Petty's Malibu mansion is listed for $19 million, but due to a tough real estate market, the price is free-falling. Queen guitarist Brian May turned 77 today. Now when he does the fandango, it feels like his joints are being struck by thunderbolts and lightning.
Prospector ruins everything, even the news. Tune in Monday for Prospector's Briefs on Rock 107.
It's Prospector Show, and right now, Kate, a crazy train might be a better way to travel than an airline.
I know.
There are a lot of outages due to some back-end technical issues on a bunch of websites and things like that are canceling flights, people waiting to get on planes and all that stuff.
It's unfortunate.
So, and look, when the internet goes down, even parts of it, that messes people's lives up. But that doesn't mean it's all over, because there are still wonderful, tremendous, fantastic things that you could do all over Northeast PA this weekend or anytime, really.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Like Friday, Benton and Columbia County, for 107.7 listeners and whoever, it's the Benton Area Rodeo, and it's going on this weekend.
I didn't even know this was happening. So the Benton Rodeo is considered one of the best over the 65 rodeos, east of the Mississippi River.
Right.
It's voted by the American Professional Rodeo Association.
Yeah, and we're talking about cowboys, cowgirls from all over America, as well as Canadians coming down and competing.
It's so crazy. The Benton Area Rodeo Association is a nonprofit organization whose goal is to stimulate tourism to the Benton area, to provide fundraising opportunities to local charities, service groups, fire companies, ambulance associations, scouts, and churches.
And if you're like, okay, well, that's one thing, Prospector. Oh, no. There's more.
Lots more.
Yeah, Saturday in German, PA, Lackawanna County is a day for dancing. Danny. It's a pasta dinner to benefit Danny Kilmer, happening from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. at the Artisan Fire Company, 20 Maple Street in German.
Includes penne, meatballs, salads, and desserts, dine-in, takeout, 50-50, basket raffles, and many more.
All the proceeds are helping with medical bills and lost wages and other expenses as needed for Danny Kilmer, who is definitely needs the help at this point.
And then Sunday and Saturday, in Carbon County, we have
the Penn's Peak Mountain Beer and Wine Festival. Right at Penn's Peak, this is wines and beers from all over Northeast PA and beyond.
There's so many things I didn't know that were happening.
It's amazing.
Tickets for Saturday, so July 20th, $25 in advance, $30 at the door. Tickets for Sunday, that's the 21st, $20 in advance, $25 at the door. Designated driver tickets, listen to this, are only $10.
Yeah, there's so many amazing things going on in Northeast PA. We have simply dipped our toe into the water here, Kate.
I know.
The following rant may cause you to pull your hair out, scream at the radio, punch the dashboard. Complaints should be addressed to Loudmouth Yambag at rock107.com.
Hey, I'm Rock 107's Prospector, and here's what's got me jacked. Every time somebody famous passes away, folks on social media start yammering on about this untrue theory that people always die in threes. Yeah, we lost Richard Simmons, Shannon Doherty, and Dr. Ruth recently. Now, look, I'm sad because 3 people died. But what makes me even sadder is all the they always die in 3 yam bags on social media. They always die in threes. I've been hearing this bunk since I was a kid, and it makes me want to puke every time. It's BS. It's a creation of our minds. We see a pattern where we want to see a pattern. So I'll ask the same questions I always ask about this weak, mealy-mouthed hypotheses. What are the parameters? Look, if you want to establish a pattern, you need parameters, a set of rules, guidelines that measure the pattern. Otherwise, you don't have a pattern. So what's the time period for these 3 deaths to occur within? What's the minimum threshold of fame for the people who died to be considered? Apply said guidelines, then determine if it fits the patterns. That's how this works. You can't argue, though, with the they die in threes simpletons because they don't understand science. They don't understand the scientific method. They don't understand statistics, and they sure don't seem to understand reason. They only see what fits their belief or narrative. It's called confirmation bias. And trust me, this ain't the only place you see it. We ignore evidence unless it fits our preconceived notion. That's how the insipid dying in threes nonsense perpetuates. And I know there are bigger problems in the world, but if I can't disabuse you of this insane notion, what chance do we have at solving the real problems? Riddle me this. Since Freddie Prinze scattered his cerebral cortex all over the wall in January of 1977, there wasn't even another remotely famous person who died until Elvis bought the farm while he was dropping the kids off at the pool, and that was in August of 77. That's 8 months. Where's your 3? Allow me to answer that. There isn't a third because we made this garbage up. In fact, I could use these recent deaths to crush, say, the die in threes nonsense. What about Shelley Duvall? Doesn't she count? They don't die in threes. You recognize a pattern in threes. The only thing the whole dying in threes thing does is instantly tell me what brain-dead morons I should avoid as I stroll around this mortal coil. I'm Prospector. I'm for the people. Who's with me? I gotta go crazy, man.
Ever see the crazy guy screaming at the wall outside the Times building?
Where does this rage come from, my son?
Tweet us with hashtag I found Prospector and we'll come and get him. Prospector, mornings on Rock 107. Life's pretty tough right now. There's plenty of bad news, but it's not all bad. It's time for the brighter side of Prospector on Rock 107.
A 14-year-old boy named Harold Teller launched Harold's Hoops for Hope, which raised thousands of dollars for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. It's a nonprofit where they play basketball and do other different events to raise money and awareness. His mom says it's all him. It's everything he envisions. He's an honor roll student. He plays travel ball, and he finds time for this somehow.
Thanks. We needed that. The brighter side of Prospector on Rock 107. Ladies and gentlemen, grab the kids, call your neighbors, and gather around the radio.
It's now time to announce the winner of Prospector's Jam Bag of the Week, as decided by you at rock107.com.
We uncover the most baffling, ridiculous, pathetic, cockeyed, laughable, preposterous blunders in the world of misdeeds. Nominee number 1.
This guy tried to take squatters' rights to a whole new level. There was an open house for a home for sale in Virginia, and one of the people who toured the home was 39-year-old Napoleon Bowache. Apparently, he talked to the seller about how much he liked the place and thought it would be great for him and his 4 kids. And it looks like he was serious because he moved in just 2 days later. He didn't make an offer or anything. He just showed up with his kids, got inside, and refused to leave. Police got there and ordered him to come out, but he just stared at them through a window, so they went inside and arrested him. It turned out he was on probation and had warrants in 2 neighboring counties, and he's facing a long list of charges, including entering a property with intent to cause damage. Child Protective Services took the kids in. Officials say they're releasing them to a responsible family member.
Nominee number 2.
It turned out to be a very bad day for a man who dropped his chicken sandwich in his car. We've all been there, tempted to do the same thing. You go to a fast food drive-thru, get your food, drop something on the mat, and you want to reach for it right then. This should be a lesson to park the car before recovering your food, because in this case, the driver flipped the vehicle. Police responded to the incident and found the man with minor injuries and no sign of impairment. The 46-year-old man wasn't cited for distracted driving, but his insurance information was collected. There are many forms of distracted driving, so please put the phone down and don't reach for the sandwich on the floor, police said in a social media post. No word on whether the man ended up eating the chicken sandwich.
Nominee number 3.
This nugget of sheer yambaggery comes from a man who decided the speed limits were more of a suggestion than a rule. It's a Sunday, the day of rest, but not for 21-year-old Zachary Dion. This young daredevil had other plans, like turning the highway into his own personal racetrack. New Hampshire State Police were alerted to a pack of motorcycles tearing it up, and it wasn't long before the spotlight, or rather the eagle-eyed gaze of a state police airplane, found Dion at the front of that pack, weaving between cars like a hot knife through butter. The airborne trooper first clocked him at a jaw-dropping 158 miles per hour. Despite the other troopers' blue flashing lights, Dion didn't pull over. After miles of high-octane antics, Dion pulled into a gas station, perhaps thinking he could refuel his getaway, but instead was met with the long arm of the law. He was arrested and charged with disobeying an officer, reckless driving, driving an unregistered vehicle, unsafe lane changes, resisting arrest, reckless conduct with a deadly weapon, and failure to display plates.
Nominee number 4.
If you're stealing, maybe don't call the cops when some of that money goes missing. Melissa Arwood, 49, of Somerville, South Carolina, was charged with breach of trust with fraudulent intent for allegedly embezzling nearly $20,000 from the Girl Scouts. Arrowwood, the troop leader of 159, initially contacted authorities on April 25th, reporting that $5,000 was missing from a deposit she made in February. According to the incident report, she also reported approximately $31,000 was missing from another deposit made earlier in April. Investigators found that between January 13th and April 25th, Arwood had acquired $119,194 in Girl Scout merchandise for her troop to sell during the season, but reports state she only submitted $74,199.28 of the expected money owed to the Girl Scouts. The discrepancy led to the accusation she had embezzled nearly $20,000. She was arrested and has been released on bond.
And the winner is
the woman who embezzled over $20,000 from the Girl Scouts and got caught because she called the cops over a discrepancy in one of the deposits she made. Yeah, you're the Yam Bag of the Week. Keep it here for all the nominees for Prospector's Yam Bag of the Day, weekday mornings on Rock 107. Thanks for listening to Prospector's Prime Cuts podcast. Be sure to catch us live weekdays from 5:30 to 10 a.m. on Rock 107 or online at rock107.com or the Rock 107 app, a free download for your Android or iPhone. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss Prospector's Prime Cuts.